Hey everybody, I'm Alex Wellings and welcome to today's sales session. Today we're talking all about, what are we talking all about? Today we're talking all about the idea of back half money. Back half money being when we're talking with an advisor or a client, a prospect, something like that, and we approach them, they've got a certain amount of assets. Let's say they have, $500,000. Let's say they have a pension, they've got Social Security coming, they got spousal Social Security coming too. It's gonna meet a lot of their income needs, right? And we start to talk to them about the ideas of an annuity or fixed indexed annuity. And we start to get to a point of the 10-year deferral. Like, what are the downsides of the annuity? We have to be transparent about that. We've talked about that in other sales sessions. We've talked about that on Coffee for Closers. We talked about this on a lot of things. We've got to be transparent about the downsides, because if not, the upsides aren't truly there. And if you want more information about that, you've got to take a look at some of our old Coffee for Closers episodes. But so we start to talk about this 10-year period, 14-year period, 5-year period, whatever it might be. The idea is to get the prospect to view this money as money that would have been spent down the road. For instance, you've got $500,000, sir. You've been sitting and stuffing this cash away to be used in retirement, right? That was the idea. Was it ever in the plan for you to have taken this $500,000 and distributed it all in the first half of your retirement, in the first 10 years? And so I preface that by first talking to them about, okay, well, how long do you foresee your retirement being? Do you think it'll be a 20-year retirement? Do you think it'll be a 15-year retirement? It really doesn't matter what they say here. If they say 10 years, fine. Then I'm going to shorten it to, maybe I shouldn't put them in a 10-year product then. If they think that it's going to be a 30-year retirement, which would be more thoughtful, right? Or they might think they might get to about 90, 86 to 90, so 20 to 25 years. Okay, so you've got this $500,000. What was the plan? Were you planning on spending this all in those first 10 years and really kind of hodgepodging it together for the rest of your retirement? Were you thinking about potentially just systematically taking out a small portion of this so that you could stuff this away for potential issues down the road, health-wise or otherwise, in retirement? So maybe some potential issues down the road. If it is the latter, which generally most people would agree, the idea is not to pull out all of your money in the first few years of retirement just to do whatever the heck you want. The idea is to systematically pull it apart. Well, if that's true, then let's just view it a portion of this money as the portion that we need for the back half. Anything beyond 10 years. How much money would you have stuffed away for the last 10 years of your retirement? Let's ask you that. Maybe that's a better question. Because that's the money that we want to make sure is there for us down the road, right? And so that money is almost out of the purview of the 10-year surrender charge, 14-year surrender charge, whatever it might be that you're talking to the prospect about, because it is, again, not meant for today. So the liquidity issue is gone. And now we're talking about safety and security, which almost every retiree can get behind, with just a good chunk of the upside return, right? So now we've eliminated, it used to be that you had 3 options with any sort of retirement. You had to pick between, you could pick 2 of these, liquidity, growth, and safety. But if you could take liquidity off the table by saying, hey, some of this money doesn't need to be liquid because it was never meant to be liquid that early in retirement. And if we ever really needed it, we have some exceptions for health concerns and some free withdrawal consideration, 10% sometimes. So that if we can take liquidity off by saying, hey, this money's for the back half, then that leaves us with just 2 things. You want safety and you want as much growth as possible. Which do you value more, growth or safety on the back half money? Well, I would argue that 10 years is not enough time to potentially get a downturn in the market in year 8 and then have to start living off it in year 11, right? So safety becomes almost paramount to growth. But what if I said you only had to sacrifice a tiny bit of the upside in order to get all the safety you need, and the only real cost was liquidity, but that doesn't matter anymore? Now you're in a position to really talk to them about, honestly, the annuity for the really first time as being the perfect fit. That's it for today. We'll see you next time on Sales Session.